everybody, and welcome to Chess for Life in the time of coronavirus. Today we're absolutely delighted to have International Master Harriet Hunt with us. Now, Harriet has an absolute string of world-class chess titles, as well as being a researcher at the University of Cambridge and also being a mother of three. So Harriet, as a junior, she won jointly the British Under-14 Championship. And her brother, I think, was also amongst the winners there. And that was the first time a girl had ever won or jointly won a British Junior Championship. Harriet has also been the World Girls Under-20 champion, which she won at Juggling in Poland in 1997. And Harriet has also won the gold medal on board one in the European Women's Team Championship, and that was in Batumi in 1999. Harriet, a big welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I was very pleased to receive your invitation, and actually finally prompted me to watch some of your previous episodes, which I've been meaning to do, but various demands on time at the moment have meant
I can imagine you're amazingly busy. Yeah. Harriet, how did you first get into chess?
Well, really through my brother Adam, who of course is also reasonably quite well known, also an international master and full-time chess teacher, and has also done a lot of chess coaching. And I mean, we were very games playing family, driven, I think, principally by Adam, who could play chess before he was 3. And actually, I think I probably would have laid the chess pieces aside and not picked them up again after being defeated by him too many times. But when I was 9, I went to Oxford High School, which unusually for a girls' school in particular had a very active chess club with a very enthusiastic chess teacher, and we all had chess lessons once a week, and that sort of boosted my interest. And then this kind of coincided with starting to go to tournaments, largely sort of for Adam, various junior tournaments around the southern counties of England. I remember meeting you at one of those in Maidenhead, I think.
Maidenhead, I used to play every year.
Yes. And you were wearing a sort of straw hat.
I used to wear hats. Yes, that was right.
I remember that.
I think I must have been late teens by the time I was wearing hats.
Yeah, I think you were about 16 at the time, and it was one of the first tournaments I played in, and you wearing this straw hat. Yes. Anyway, so and you know, we played a lot of chess. I'm just kind of.
Did you used to play against Adam at home, or did you more play?
Well, I mean, yes, a bit, and it was always tremendously acrimonious. I mean, actually, a bit later in our when we were slightly older juniors, then we once had to play each other in the final of the Oxfordshire Individual County Championship. I mean, this was the adult county championship, and I think I was about 15 and Adam was about 12, and you just played these matches, you know, at someone's house. So of course we played it at home.
Your house.
And actually it was a very finely balanced position, and Adam is as fairly well known, a fairly ardent Liverpool fan. And on the same evening, Liverpool were playing Man U in some also fairly critical game. And anyway, at this critical point in the chess game, then our younger brother, who at the time was a a Man U fan burst into the room and said, "It's Man U 3, Liverpool 2." And Adam promptly left his rook on pre.
Oh, good grief.
So you can
the real story behind the county championships.
Imagine the acrimony that ensued all round at that point.
I can only just imagine. Yeah. And so you must have played quite a lot of chess as a junior.
Yeah, I mean that. Looking back now, I'm just astonished at how much chess we did play. I mean, I think we were both playing well over 100 graded games a year, and then rapid play and other stuff on top of that. And I mean, we recently came across one of our calendars from that period, and it was just of course, in those days, all matches were adjourned. You adjourned in the local league at 30 moves, and you
did, yes,
to play the resumption of that match.
You'd have to
and we were playing school matches and county matches and club matches and tournaments on the weekend, and we were playing a lot of chess.
Yeah, and then you also went to university.
Yes.
Were you juggling your chess and your academics?
Yes, I mean, I went to university after having taken a year out, where actually I had some of the most notable successes, including winning the World Girl Championship. So, it has to be said, at the point where I started university, I wasn't terribly infused about that, and it was a tremendous juggling act. I mean,
how was it taking a year out? Because I know lots of people think about whether they want to take a year out or whether they want to get straight on with their academics.
I mean, certainly in those days, then it was more or less the done. I mean, most of the sort of strong chess players of my generation, well, maybe not most, but many of them in this country did exactly that. And I mean, I think I played something like 12 international, serious international tournaments in the space of about 15 months. And I mean that it was nice. It coincided with a lot of major events that Matthew will also remember very well. So I mean, it kind of began with the Yerevan Olympiad. And World Under-18s, where I got the silver medal, and then the European Team Championship in Pula. And then a couple of months later, the World Girls Championship. So I was really kind of on this great high of having had quite a lot of chess successes going off to university. And then, I mean, I even, which was a bit naughty, took a couple of weeks out at the start of my second year to go and play the Elista Olympiad.
Yeah, I laugh because I took 2 weeks out. No, 1 week. It wasn't long. I took 1 week out to play a zonal tournament in my second year, and I never ever caught up there.
No, I mean that's the problem. Is the university terms are so short
and so condensed, aren't they?
Yeah. So it was, and I mean I kind of continued doing that right until the end of my. In fact, I even left somebody else to submit my PhD thesis because I went off to Norway to play a closed tournament, and had been rather optimistic about when I would have the thesis submitted by, and then.
But you did write your own thesis.
Oh no, I did write my thesis. But and then delayed the start of my first postdoc to play the Calvia Olympiad, and then after that various things happened that meant that kind of drew that period of time to a close. But yeah, it was. Well, I probably would have been.
What was it like playing junior tournaments? Did you particularly enjoy that, or would you prefer adult tournaments?
Well, I mean, I would say I particularly enjoyed any event where I was representing England, whether that was a junior event or in the Olympiad or the European team championships. I think there was. I remember being quite struck. There was one of John Nunn's books where he said something like, you know, for some people, then the stress of an average chess game, that produces kind of the right level of stress for them to play well, and actually some people perform better under the extra stress of, you know, some particular competition or something. And I mean, one of the things that is quite striking is, I mean, by far, my best tournament results, I mean, in terms of rating performance, so if you looked at it, were all in women's only events.
Okay.
Which pretty much means by default, therefore, events where I was playing for England.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was inspired playing for England. I have to say, the team championships, the ones I played for England, I played by far the best. Also defended the best, and you know, just it really that really added something. But it's it is quite added level of stress, but you feel very responsible. But still,
I mean, as you will remember, Matthew, they were enormously stressful events. I mean, both for you know the pressure on you as a player, but also often in many cases for the, you know, the various situations we were encountering off the board. I mean, they were in some weird and wonderful places.
Indeed.
Encountered some weird and wonderful political and other situations as we went along. So I mean, they were tremendously stressful. But you know, what it kind of makes me sad is like we almost kind of took them for granted just how extraordinary and how fun it was really at the time. And I mean, you know, one of the things that struck me from really quite an early age was actually just sort of how unique these experiences were compared to most people of our generation. I mean, when I was 13, then the second World Youth Championships I played in was in Warsaw in Poland, and you know, this was 91. So I mean, this was before anyone went to Poland. You know, it was the other side of Europe. No one ever went to Poland. You know, this was 15 years before, you know, people started going to Poland or
all these countries,
in Eastern Europe as a holiday destination or whatever. And
and as chess players, you just did it basically, and
I remember Moscow '94. You were there, I think, Harriet.
Yes, I've never been back to Moscow since. I mean, with work, I've since been to St. Petersburg 3 times. But yeah, I mean, that was a totally extraordinary experience for all sorts of
many reasons,
mostly good and the odd bad reason. And I mean, the other striking thing is that, you know, we were so incredibly young at the time, really. I mean, you know, I was 16 when I went to Moscow, and just there was just this. Right, you got on a plane with these people who you knew well in some ways and not well in others, but I don't think any of them, you know, formally had any responsibility for me. I mean, you know, you have teenagers, and you can't imagine now sending them on a trip without knowing exactly, you know, who the buck stopped with and who the bottom line, where the bottom line was.
It was different in those days.
It was completely different, and
Yeah, I mean, actually, no people barely knew where they were going, really, did they? I mean, I remember for, you know, Elista Pula, you know, for Elista, it was a plane to Sevastopol, I think, and then some bus that took us 8 hours somewhere. I mean, no idea whatsoever.
Well, I remember you missed out on this one, Matthew. This was slightly after your time, but when we went to Batumi for the European Team Championships, then we had a charter plane from Budapest, and in Budapest, then on the departures board, then our departure was written Ismeretlen. I remember Peter Wells, who speaks Hungarian, telling me at the time this means unknown, which is never really what you want to read on the departures board of your flight. So,
do you still play a lot of chess now, Harriet?
No, sadly, I played increasingly little, and I mean the combination of working and 3 children who are sort of
Yes.
very, very needy stage. I've recently taken a great deal of pleasure in, I've started up a chess club at my son's primary school. So got back into doing some sort of school's chess, which was actually something I have done for a very long time. I mean, I did it at my own school as a teenager.
All right. Wow.
And it's something I've always very much enjoyed. And
teacher as well as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, you know, my brother teaches chess in schools. My mum at one point was teaching chess in about, 10 schools or something. So it's kind of in our family, sort of faced with a school, our natural reaction is to run a chess club.
Yeah. And have you ever thought about doing any chess writing?
Well, yeah. I've thought about it reasonably recently, which is actually the worst possible time to think about it. But it's kind of become a bit of a source of regret that I haven't written a chess book. I mean, I've written various things, including a PhD thesis and various academic papers. But no, I would like to write a chess book.
Yeah. Yeah. Any ideas?
Well, yeah. So one of the last tournaments I played in a sort of brief flurry of activity about 18 months ago was I played a tournament in Norway, and I was having a discussion there with Ketty Arakamia, and it transpired that neither of us could accurately remember the sequence of the women's world champions. This was in the context of a lecture we were listening to on the Open World Championship, the history of the Open World Championship, and it struck me that if we couldn't remember that, then no one else is going to know much about it either. So yeah, I would like to write about that, because I think there would be an awful lot that you could say that would be interesting. Not just about chess, but about social and political factors. Not that I'm really qualified to write about either of those things. That's not my area, but
it would be fascinating.
I'd like to have a go.
And it's a gap in the market, really. There's
Well, yeah. I mean, I recently acquired a book. There's a book came out on Vera Menchik and her.
Oh yeah.
Really, there's very little on women's chess history.
Yeah.
And actually, it's quite hard going, that book.
Yeah. So you want to make it entertaining.
Well, yeah, no, that would be the idea.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, well, I'm really looking forward to that. Hope that's
you might have to wait another 10 years or so.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because kids are teenagers, and then they'll want you to sit in the room writing a book.
Was that when you suddenly found all your time?
That's when I suddenly became an author. Yeah.
You can give me some tips.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be good. No, it'd be good. It sounds really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's now on the 10th of July, and I guess we're coming out, or we're certainly out of the first wave of coronavirus. Who knows what'll happen next? But how have you found lockdown and what have you been up to in lockdown?
Yes, yeah, I'm kind of. I was thinking earlier. I can't really. I don't really know if we're still in lockdown or out of it. Lockdown had a clear beginning, but it doesn't really have a clear end, does it? I mean, we've been very lucky as a family, really, in that I know very few people who've been personally affected or suffered personal tragedies through coronavirus. And my work colleagues seem to have been, are working remotely, but have carried on much as normal. My both immediate and wider family all seem to be okay. I mean, yes. So we've had 3 children at home since the schools closed.
How's that been?
Well, I mean, I think, I think obviously different age groups are finding different things difficult about this whole period.
Yeah.
There's some ways in which it's better to have very young children, as ours are, and there must be some ways in which it's easier to have slightly older children. I mean, yes, luckily my children are young enough that they're relatively unaffected, and that a little bit of a hiccup in education is not going to be as difficult as those further up the chain. But yes, it feels pretty much non-stop, sort of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you managed to keep your chess club going?
Yeah, I have. I've been running my chess club. A wonderful group of children running the chess club through Zoom, as we're doing this interview now. So yes.
Did they enjoy that? A lot of people seem to say that the children almost seem keener to do it rather, than through Zoom rather than almost, just in person somehow.
Well, I mean, of necessity, it's involved, a little bit more teaching and a little bit less just playing, because they can facilitate that themselves. Anyway. So I've had the chance to try and do a little bit more chess teaching, and
they now all win with king and pawn against king.
Oh, I think we covered that in one of the sessions, but I don't know whether it went in. But,
have you yourself tried playing much online chess?
Yeah, well, I played in some of these. There've been these sort of women's team events that Jovanka Huska has been masterminding. I don't know if you were playing as well, because I don't know what anyone's username is online.
I played one or two, I can't remember, but I used my own name, so.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. No, I played in a couple of those. In one case, sort of trying to move the pieces around, having a baby asleep on my knee.
Yeah. Okay, and so imagine you're going into lockdown and you can only take one favourite game with you, a memorable game. Which game would you choose and why?
Well, interestingly, it's actually a game from a considerable time after the sort of, almost the peak period of my chess career, but a game I played against Anna Muzychuk, who was pretty young at the time. She was only about 17 or 18, but of course then went on to get very close to the top of women's chess.
Yeah.
And this was
at over 2600, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think, I can't remember what her rating was at the time of this game. And she in fact won the tournament in question. I inflicted her only defeat along the way. After I ran aground with a lot of draws after this game. It was a very nice tournament that I mean, it was at a point where I was then concentrating more on work than chess, but still managed to have this quite good event.
Excellent. All right, we're going to look at the game in a second. First of all, say thank you very much for chatting with us just now, and now we will look at the game.
Okay, let's have a look at this game. Now, Harriet, I can guess your first move. That will have been 1e4. There we are.
Yes.
It's have you tried doing anything else actually?
Yeah, once or twice, but very, very rarely.
Okay, yeah. It's I just when I started, I stopped for a while, and then I started playing again. I just fancied playing 1e4. I always played 1d4 before, but just felt doing something different. But somehow at the end, always came back to what I'd always done. It's
yes.
I think it is amazing actually, the choices you make when you're young. They really they always stay with you. It's incredible.
easier to remember, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
it's kind of, yeah.
Second, a lot of it's second nature, and yeah. And I think all the for me it was all the experience you've built up in the junior tournaments. You're used to winning games in that opening. You've got some great feelings about it. Whereas start with something else, and yeah, you never know really. So Muzychuk played. She played 1d5. Were you expecting that actually?
Yeah, I can't really remember. I mean, I think she certainly. I think she played this before. I'm sure I'd done some preparation for the game, though. It was a fairly fast schedule, this tournament. It was being played at the rate of 2 rounds a day. So
Ooh,
whatever
okay.
the time limit was, it was quite, fast, and the time to look up one's opponent beforehand was not so great.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Was it a big? Was it a big open tournament or?
So it was a women's open tournament. I mean, open, but I was probably invited in some way, shape, or form. And this was round 6, and I was on a fairly good score at this point. I can't remember if I was on 4 out of 5 or even 4.5.
Okay, right.
Before this game, yes. An interesting feature of the tournament was that the lead after 5 rounds, then the leader at that point had to play her next round wearing a sort of bright orange T-shirt equivalent to the yellow jersey.
Oh my goodness!
I've never heard of that. Wow.
After I won this game, then I had to wear the orange T-shirt to play round 7.
Did it get washed in between everybody?
Well, yeah, I can't now remember if there was just one or there were several of them. It certainly was of a cut that was not at all flattering to, I think, any of the women of different shapes and sizes at this event. So,
yeah. Do you like playing in women's events?
Well, yes. I mean, as I said earlier, then most of my sort of best tournament results have come in women's only events. Though, I mean, for most of those, this was quite unusual. Most women's only events were sort of, by their nature, they were some sort of international, representing all country kind of event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my feelings on this have kind of, and my view on the role of these tournaments, and can we still justify them in the 21st century, has kind of changed. I hope it's matured over time. I mean, I certainly enjoyed playing this event.
Yeah, it was an open, but it was I think all the women had been invited, weren't they? So it was a pretty good, big strength in depth. Simply,
I mean, it was certainly genuinely open and had a large local participation further down the field. I mean, the organizer and the sponsor of this event had a bit of a track record of organising these fairly high-profile events. I mean, many of them centred around Pia Cramley.
Of course, yes,
the local star. Unfortunately, this actually clashed with some other major event, so Pia actually couldn't play in this tournament. Though she came and did some commentary for the second half. No, I mean he's hosted. They've hosted various other events in Stockholm. Actually, I went more recently to another one in which they and sort of almost fancy dress, if you like, seems to be a bit of a theme of them. I think I got away relatively lightly with the orange T-shirt because this last one I played.
I like it. There's only one person has to wear the orange T-shirt as well.
Well, it's like the Tour de France. It's like the yellow jersey. You only have one person wearing the yellow jersey. But no, I think Pia Kremling has had to play some of these events wearing a full sort of Viking get up. So yes.
Actually, in Go competitions they do. So there's this Go championship in Japan. It's like the amateur pair Go. And they say every country has to turn up with their national costume, and it's all very ceremonial, and It's quite funny playing.
Well, I mean, this is one of the things I always thought was wonderful about playing Olympiads. I mean, there were some teams, you know, and in particular, I Turkmenistan, I think, where their team offer more, you know, wonderful and amazing sort of national dress. It's a tremendously colourful event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we never had that in
This one you weren't wearing the orange.
No, I had to wear the orange T-shirt, and I think someone else was leading the tournament at this stage. So
Yes. Okay, this was to win you the orange T-shirt.
this was to win the orange T-shirt. Yes.
So e takes d5, knight f6, knight f3, knight d5, d4, bishop g4. So and he played bishop e2. Sorry, you played bishop e2. You played bishop e2. Yeah, sorry.
He is clearly wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, good lord. Yeah, sorry. I'm all confused. I've been trying to avoid saying he when talking about computers for ages, and I think I've finally got it into my head, but now I'm making the mistake with Muzychuk. So.
Commenting on a women's only tournament, then you're.
And I'm saying he's really sorry about that. So I'll improve. So knight c6, and then you played c3 here, which is.
I mean, I think I think White can play more directly and aggressively here with moves like c4 followed by d5, and you have to accept a doubling of the f pawns on f3. But I was quite happy just to play like this. I mean, I hadn't, as I say, I wasn't playing so actively even at this point, and I was not so sharp on theory, but yeah, this seemed like an okay way to play.
Yeah, it's very sensible. I mean, with a knight on c6, so counterplay is going to be a lot more difficult. So yeah, this is just very solid and sensible. You just end up, well, I mean, certainly in the game you end up with a great position. So e6, castles, bishop e7, and you played h3 and bishop h5 and rook e1. So yeah, I mean, all good sensible development. Castles and knight bd2. Yeah, it's not easy for black to come up with a nice plan for counterplay here. Really, just yeah, want to play c5 really, but yeah, that knight on c6.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really quite sure what the idea of black's setup is. I mean, obviously, you can there's something to be said for being solid and encouraging white to overreach.
Yeah.
In this sort of position.
Yeah. It's I think that's I've seen bishop g6 here. I've seen a6, but actually none of it really seems none of it really feels like it's you're just trying to delay the moment until you have to admit I've actually got no idea here what how I'm going to develop next. So she went queen d7.
Yeah, I don't think this is a very good move. I mean, this kind of invites some. Well, it encourages some knights to e5 and
yeah.
Probably black should play a6 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's but yeah, you went knight c4, which is just very.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, and I don't think I really am. Well, I think she was probably too worried about the knight coming to e5, because I think she should play something like rook on f to d8 here. And then, if I start putting my knights on e5 too soon, then that gives her the chance to exchange a load of pieces.
Yeah.
Exchanges.
And knight e5 and queen e8, yeah.
Queen e8, and I'm not going to be better if I just exchange off all those pieces. So.
Yeah. I think that's true. It's yeah, she took on f3 straight away, didn't she? So
yeah, I mean, I was once I get the bishop pair, then the onus is kind of always then on her to equalise. You have to kind of ask yourself, why is white not better in this sort of a position?
Yeah, exactly. It's so she went rook a8, sensible move, I suppose. Queen b3, that's nice. Just nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm attacking a pawn or not, but
yeah, no, but
the game was being played at quite a fast time limit.
Yeah.
So,
Was this the morning game or the afternoon? Do you remember?
Well, this is a good question. Well, it was round 6, so.
Depends whether you started with a single. Yeah.
It's
Or whatever, you would probably be quite chest out and ready.
I think it probably was a morning game.
okay. Yeah. It's. Are you good at morning games, Harriet? Is that are you a good morning person, or are you still a chess player at heart and prefer the afternoon?
Well, now I get woken up by my kids very early in the morning, so.
You would probably be the best player in the world at a 6 a.m. start.
Yeah.
No, I was yeah. Always felt that was a big advantage when you're working. You know that suddenly those morning rounds, that's the ones you've got to make count. When it's
Yeah. I think the killer for me would be about 5 p.m. or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
exactly. No, it's just I think. I was playing Blackpool tournament, and you just see, saw Mark Hebden coming in at 11 o'clock on the Sunday, or 10 o'clock on the Sunday to play the morning round, and you really thought he's not used to this. Whereas for me, up at 6 o'clock every morning, for work, it's yeah. But back to the game. So Queen B3. But those are always good moves. Simply attack a pawn and then see.
You can decide whether you actually had any intention.
Exactly.
Later.
Exactly. It's black that's got to work it out. If black doesn't protect it, if it works on this move, then the next move it might not work. So it's a big calculation overhead.
I think the onus is still really on her to come up with some idea in this position because I don't really see what she's doing.
No, exactly. So B6 she went, which yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think she should probably go B5 immediately.
Yeah.
Because I can't take that because of knight takes D4. So
yeah, she's going to go B5. It would have been doing it immediately would have been
do it. Get on with it.
Yeah, indeed. Which went B6. Yeah, it's hard though these positions. I mean, you want to sort of give white the opportunity to maybe do something loosening that you can get hold of, and then if you just develop sensibly like this, then that opportunity never comes, and then afterwards you start doing all your crazy stuff, but you're a couple of tempi down already. And
yeah, I think I was very happy with this. I mean, it's kind of my kind. Well, I mean, it's easy to say that something's your sort of position when it's inherently a good position, but I think it kind of is my kind of position. I mean, it's in my sort of career of success in women's chess events, and I had an extraordinarily high win percentage with white, often with some slightly offbeat against some slightly offbeat openings as black, and I felt very comfortable playing in this kind of situation, in this sort of position.
Yeah. So she went rook e8. Yeah, rook d1. And now she went for b5.
That's just a loss of tempo.
That's a loss of tempo. Yeah, I mean, frankly, the moves you've played, bishop d2, rook d1, are probably going to be more useful than the ones that black has played. So, looking pretty good. Knight e3. And I mean, how quickly was she playing? Quickly or slowly? Can you remember, Harriet?
Well, I can't remember, and I don't have the record to hand.
Okay,
but,
yeah. It's that's sort of position in which as white you can play reasonably quickly, but black could easily spend a lot of time just.
Yeah, when you start dithering and wondering what to do and wondering how to come up with a plan and wondering if this is a threat or that's a threat.
Exactly. Yeah. So she went a6 and queen c2, redeveloping the queen. It's done its job. And h6. Aha! And now you went knight g4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's actually objectively the best move. I mean, there might be something to be said for exchanging on d5, I think, and trying to play.
Yeah, that could probably be quite.
Blacks. But I think I was worried that if my advantage might peter out because the pawn structures become very symmetrical. So. It's all very well to have that sort of edge in theory, but then it kind of it dissipates.
Yeah.
What went on? So.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And especially in a game played at a fast time, then I mean, black has all sorts of things to worry about here. She has to try and work out. Am I threatening that H pawn with either of my pieces? Does she need to do something about that?
Yeah. No, it's a nice move. I think it's definitely not the sort of move you want to face certainly in a rapid time control. I mean, just too many threats to think about there. And
Yeah, I'm not sure what her best defence is here, but certainly not what she did. Which
yeah, but it's tough. It is quite tough. I don't know whether. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, you start wondering, oh, can I get away with bishop f8 or something like that?
yeah, you see, and that so I think that was part of the point of knight g4. Is that that's kind of one of Black's natural sort of reorganising moves, but there's problems with bishop takes h6 and bishop takes d5 and the knight landing on f6.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just my point when playing knight g4 was I just thought I'll
Yeah.
Is it a trap?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether.
Oh yeah, no, maybe she can do that. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you spend maybe 5 minutes calculating it, and you put your bishop on f8. Yay! But like it's done anything. It's just one move. It's so. I mean, these moves knight g4. I mean, they are excellent moves.
And then sometimes in that sort of situation, you then try and go g6 and regroup the bishop to g7. Yeah. Well, that's certainly not going to be possible with the knight on g4. So then you have to wonder what your follow-up is.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she should go bishop f8, try and play king h8, and but yeah, I mean, it's not very pretty. But she went queen d6, which looks sort of sensible actually. Just getting out of knight e5 and vaguely looking at some dark squares. But then, indeed.
This is the move.
Well, I mean, it's the move you always sort of want to play, and of course it would be one of the first moves you'd look at. But it's always nice, as you will know, when one of these moves
actually works. Yeah.
It's quite simple, but I think that it was actually. I mean, I think the lines were not very branchy, but I had to see a reasonably long. I had to see a reasonably long.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's.
And it's jolly nice when they actually work.
Indeed.
So many times you want to play a move like that, but then you can't realise it's just unsound. So
indeed. Yeah. No, this is very nice. Actually, it's quite unusual. This because if you're taking check and you go knight f7, isn't it? Yeah. That's the very unusual. This one. So king f7.
Yeah, I mean, this is really why queen d6 is a mistake because she ends up with a fork.
Yeah.
Fork there.
And then queen h7. Yeah, bishop h5, something like this, is going to be pretty killing. Yeah, it's quite unusual, quite an unusual little thing there. So she double piece sacrifice. So she played f5, which is the always the defense, but you took on d5 there, and unfortunately,
she has to take with queen because otherwise
you can take on here, can't you? I think. Takes and rook e6 here.
Rook e6, yes.
Which is that'll hurt in the morning. That's that's very nasty. So queen d5, and then you get your nice little tempo with knight e3 there. So but it's not quite over because
No, this. I was reminded when I was looking at this that actually this was I had to see all this because my bishop is now trapped on h6.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, no, it's always never ceases to amaze me, just how difficult all these these tactics actually are because.
But I guess white is objectively better or winning here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I still need the right move in this position.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd just be losing a bishop.
So d5. So d5. In we go.
Yes. Yes.
That's the big move. So black took on h6 and then takes on c6. It's quite, and the point is very nice now, isn't it? Because she played queen c5 in this position.
Yeah, I can't remember if she should maybe take on.
That is supposed to be better, but I mean it is pretty rubbish, really. Rook d8.
I mean,
knight f5.
Yes.
That's.
I mean, I think does she have to take with? I think she has to take with the bishop on
yeah,
d8.
I think you're right. Yeah, bishop d8.
And then I think I was going to play queen e2.
Yeah.
When I'm threatening knight takes f5 and I'm threatening queen h5, I mean.
Yeah, and You've also got the same thing that you did in the game actually. This move, lovely move, knight c2 as well with knight d4 and yeah. It's.
I mean, it's level material, but I mean, especially in a game being played at speed, I think you and I would both rather have the have black's holy king side. So have the white against black's holy king side. So.
Yeah, no, this is really nice actually. So I can imagine that she didn't want to do that. She played.
No, I mean, of course, you'd rather keep material level, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Queen c5 she played, so just keeping hold of the f5 square, keeping defending e7. So for the moment everything's intact. But now you played a couple of lovely moves actually. Queen b3, bishop d6, and this lovely evil next move. Knight c2. Yeah, no, so it's a really nice move, this one. Really nice. Because that knight is coming round to d4, simply. I mean, you're uncovering an attack and also coming round to d4. It's easy to miss, this one.
Black's, I mean, even though I have the knight against the bishop, black's pieces are very badly placed to do. She can't put her bishop on e5 because, black's pieces are very badly placed here. So.
Yeah. It's just, it's just the right moment to exploit it, really. Very, I like knight c2 a lot. I think it's a really good move, that. So king f7, knight d4.
I mean, there's just so, it's a catastrophe for black on those
yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. No, it's, and queen c4, and now I think, another good move here, queen c2. But I would always expect you to keep the queens on, Harriet. That.
Well, I think in my chess career, I've sometimes kept the queens on too often, but I don't think.
No, this was.
You're the opposite of Keith Arkle. The anti-Arkle.
It's.
Well, I think I won. Yeah. No, this one's not going
to. He tries to swap them off.
Yeah, this one's really strong. This one, lots of threats now. B4. And Alice was a nice finish, a very nice finish indeed. So I think b4 was a little bit of desperation there.
I think she's kind of given up.
And now it's the time to find the right move. Bang!
Yeah.
Rook takes c6.
It's another move. It's easy to see, but it's quite nice to kind of calculate stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very nice actually how it
very nice game, this.
How it works all together. So queen f5 check, and king e7 she went. If rook f6. We've got queen h7, I think, haven't we? King f8 and queen h8 check.
Queen h8 and then,
And that's just
and then if king there, I think
is it queen g7 and then rook e1 or something, or maybe rook e1. Rook e1 immediately. Yeah. It's going to be just huge for white. So king e7, and this is quite funny now. Queen check, king e8, queen g8 check, king e7. And knight f5 check, and it's quite striking actually, just how you just bring her king right up to the centre of the board here, and the mating patterns are quite unusual. That's king takes f5 and g4. Yeah, they're not the obvious mating patterns at all. So.
But the amusing thing is that there is one or two lines where I have to play the right move in order to win the material, but avoid giving me.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I saw it. Yeah, because she went king f4, which lost quite quickly, but she could also have gone king e4.
Yeah.
Rook d4 check and king f3.
Yes.
And if
if I take the queen, then that's it.
Mate.
Oh, no.
Which is hilarious actually. I was really wow.
No, I'll throw queen f7
Indeed.
in a long way.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one. And after king,
forcing the king to block its own rook on e2.
and then rook takes is just winning. Yes. But yeah, no, I was playing through the game. I thought, wow, what's that? But yeah.
No, it's quite nice just because of that, really.
So it's she went king f4, and I mean it is actually I do actually find it quite surprising just how the mates that arise here, because queen f7 check is just mating. So king e5 or king e4, we've got queen f5 check, and king g5, you just get it on the other side with queen f5 check and queen h5. It's really it's a really nice mating finish, and really.
Go my way.
Yeah, really unusual, really unusual. You know, with a pawn, you give away the knight and all that as well, and still you've still got enough enough control to deliver mate. It's really quite unusual. And yeah, and that funny little mating pattern is hilarious as well. I really enjoyed that. It's,
yeah, I was quite pleased by this game. I mean, you know, it's obviously it's a long way from Anna Muzychuk at her best, but
but
yeah, I really
It's very nicely played attack.
yeah, and but she won the tournament anyway, didn't she?
yeah, no, she then, you know, she perked up after that, and yeah, I ran aground, and I played a dreadful game in round 7, I think. And,
Okay.
you know, I was lucky to draw, and then yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had another couple of draws, so I think I finished 4-4.
Okay, well, yeah, it's a strong tournament, not
One of
bad.
our previous guests said on this show, it doesn't matter what happens in the rest of the tournament, at least you've got this really nice game. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, I just looking back on my career, I've forgotten so many of my bad losses, and all I remember are the good wins. So it's yeah, that's a nice thing. That's a gorgeous thing about chess, that you can, you know, that you can replay your game just like that, and then relive all the memories and the nice feelings and the nice moves as well.
Yeah, though of course that's what drives you is feeling awful about the, you know, or was what drove you at the time, is the feeling awful about the bad losses. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I found the same in, you know, when your life becomes more sort of multi-dimensional, then it's not possible to have that same degree of angst over the bad losses, because, you know, you're aware of all the sort of wider context.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's I actually found that I found it easier to actually to defend when I came back as an amateur, just because you know, if I got worse, then you know, the stress that I had when I was professional, you know, when I was so uptight about chess all the time, you know, that you know, thinking, oh my goodness, you know, what did I do wrong, and I'm going to lose all these elo points. This is so important, and now you're saying, well.
Everyone going to think of me.
Exactly, and now you say, well, you know, in work I've messed up so many things, and I'm still alive. So you know, it's one more doesn't matter, you know, and you're somehow calmer, or you can, you know, that spectre of.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's been definitely a bad thing in terms of my chess, and I think it kind of comes back a bit to, you know, what we were talking about earlier. You know, how what for different people is the kind of optimum level of stress and anxiety that you actually need to play well.
Yeah. It's
yeah, I used to get excited, you know, for a week before I was playing chess, I'd be excited and only think about that, and now it's like, what am I doing later? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it's like, now I barely think beyond the next meal that someone's expecting me to produce.
Oh, but Harriet, thanks very much for showing us that game. Really nice game. I hadn't seen it before, but super well worth seeing, and gorgeous.
Yeah, a pleasure to rediscover it myself.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks very much, Harriet, for talking to us, and well, lots of luck with everything.
Thank you for inviting me.
For being on the show.
Okay.
Keep well, and
you.
see you in real life soon.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.